What is up, wrestling fans? We just got done watching WWE Extreme Rules 2022, and we're here to present you with another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm Tony Mango, Robert DeFelice with me. I see people in the chat. We're going to get into a lot of stuff here. What's up, Rob?
It's a mixed bag of emotions tonight, Tony, but coming out of that ending, I'm about as high as one can be.
Even more than Riddle?
Maybe not as much as Riddle or Rob Van Dam, who was referenced tonight via ring gear.
Yeah, shrug. We see that we've got Marco in the chat. We've got Peter. We've got Brandon. We got Sniper God. We've got Marquise. We got Frankie. We got, everybody's coming in here. The gang is here.
The gang is here. Callum's not here, but that's because he's sleeping because it's 4:30.
Yeah, he must have fallen asleep. Not too sure. He hasn't been feeling good anyway, so we told him ahead of time, hey, if you're not feeling up for it, go to sleep. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about here, despite the fact that we had said going into this, there's a lot of matches that don't have a whole lot of stakes to it. There aren't really a lot of titles on the line, and those negatives that go along with it. There are some things that happen on this show that are very important going forward. We got a return of someone. We've got we got to return 2 people in this, and we got a mascot getting beaten up, and we've got a title change, and so on and so forth. So as we go along here and we tell you the results of what happened, we're going to break down our thoughts on everything, and we want you to do the same. So all the people that are in that live chat right now, chat it up. I'll try to read up some things here and there as we go along. If you're listening to this afterward and you weren't able to join us live and get your super chats in or whatever, then still leave a comment because I'm still going to read it afterward. So, let us know what you think. And for anybody that is on YouTube in particular, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, do all that good stuff that you normally do for any YouTube channel that you want to support. You can also click that little thanks button. That helps out quite a bit to help us out on the monetary side of things. There's also that little join button that you can see next to subscribe, and you should definitely click that, even if it's just $1 a month, because that'll help us out in the long run a lot with the just kind of even boosting the morale of everything. But if you are so generous enough to get to the Dark Cast tier or the Pick Your Poison tier, and you can take advantage of those things too. And there are the same things you could find over on the Patreon. So as you can see up on your screen right now on YouTube, and if you're not listening to this on the audio only streams, those are those kind of options on this marketplace, including the Redbubble and TeePublic shops for merchandise. If you are so inclined to pick up a t-shirt or get like a duffel bag with things, there's a lot of different options on those things. You could just slap one of those logos on or whatever. And if you have any design ideas too you'd be interested in, let me know and we'll try to work something out. But I see we got a super chat from Marquise over there. Thank you, Marquise, saying I enjoyed a WWE show, Fourth Sign of the Apocalypse. Things are changing, man. Things are changing. That's for sure. I remember a couple months ago, both WWE and AEW were in a completely different scenario than they are now. So you never know what the next day is going to hold. But we knew some of how this was going to play out. And, some of it ended up being a surprise in the good way. Some of it ended up being a little bit of a disappointment. I am not sure where I would rank this as far as like a letter grade, but I still feel, to be perfectly honest, like this was a very good C+ pay-per-view.
I agree with the C+ ranking. I might knock it up to B. I think, let's be honest,
maybe B-.
I think the closing segment of this show will be replayed for years to come.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can put it lower than a B because of that, but there were some positives, there were some negatives, definitely not as many positives as I personally would have liked, but I also really loved the energy of this show.
What do you mean by the energy? Just the crowd in Philadelphia and everything?
The crowd was hot for everything except for Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. They had a great energy for the closing segment of the show. Michael Cole was maybe a little over the top at times, but definitely feels more human.
Is one of those times that's your damn father.
Yeah, like maybe it was a little over the top, but it still had more emotion than it would have a few months ago. And I just thumbs up all around in terms of presentation changes. Except, and this is a very me thing, I don't like the color scheme of this show, and I think they overdid the purple and green tonight. But that's neither here nor there.
Caroline brought it up, my wife, for those who don't know. She was like, oh, they're going with purple and green for this. And I was like, yeah, they changed it a couple of years ago. It used to be black and red and white, like pretty much they're the standard WWE colors at this point, which I still, to this day, there's something off about it to me that it's like, okay, black and silver and white and gray and all that stuff. And red is the WWE, because to me, I mean, I grew up in new generation type of time frame. So I'm like, WWE is still kind of that blue and gold, you know? But they don't do that anymore. But I was like, yeah, they switched over to this like green and purple thing for Extreme Rules, and I never quite understood it. But
Party Boys.
You think that's the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, I don't like that then. But,
although I'm gonna. So throughout the night, Michael Cole was giving history lessons.
He was bringing up some people here and there that, like, I didn't expect him to mention Sandman and Jack Swagger and all.
Yeah, he mentioned Sandman and Jack Swagger in, what did he say, 2010, was it?
I didn't catch it by, like, the year or whatever he mentioned.
Yeah, I thought that was very weird. He mentioned Sting and Vader. Like, there was a lot of just like, hey, it's okay to talk about wrestling again. Like, that's been a constant theme since Triple H took over, and I love it.
Two people in the chat, Frankie and Michael, saying that he had mentioned Sasha Banks. I didn't catch that. Mention
Sasha Banks. Yes, that was when Bayley came out. He said she's all about big time wrestling. She's all about wrestling history. She had the first women's Iron Man match with Sasha Banks.
As you should, because it's like you're not going to really lose anything. You know, the whole idea of if you don't mention it, then people won't know or whatever. They can Google things. People aren't. I was gonna say people aren't that dumb. No, I don't want to go that far. People are. People consistently prove how dumb they are in ways that you can't even imagine. Ted's asking in the chat, I know Tony couldn't stand the Fiend. Have you changed your mind about Bray under Triple H's direction? I'm gonna hold off on my opinion about this for a little hook to keep you guys watching. I'll be mean like that. Yeah, so I mean the way that the show was tonight with the environment and the energy that you were talking about, I know 3 people that went. I think I might know some other people that went. I just didn't get any confirmation that like more people went with those people. But I'm gonna have to ask them what it was like there, because it seemed like the Philly crowd was pretty much start to finish really into this event, and I'm honestly surprised that nobody ended up like starting to fight or anything, because it's a Philly crowd. So, when they have people battling out in the fans and around all the other people in the arena, I'm like, somebody's going to throw a punch or, do something. But they were more behaved than I was expecting. So I'm proud of you, Philly. I'll have to ask them,
Philly,
though.
Since we're here, did you see the WrestleMania 40 logo?
Yeah, it's it makes sense. But yeah. I don't like it. I
get around a couple of years ago they stopped doing the numbers and they started really leaning into the
whatever the theme is of the location.
Designs. Yeah, and I don't need a Liberty Bell.
Yeah, I don't love the Liberty Bell thing, but I like how they have the XL on it.
Oh shit! I just noticed that they have the numbers back. Mm-hmm. Look at that! Look at that!
Yeah, so that's a positive, but the Liberty Bell thing. I mean, I'm a little bit of a stickler for like the traditional WrestleMania logo, but I also think that old WrestleMania soundtrack score should not be Linda McMahon's theme. It should be the WrestleMania one, so traditionalist like that.
You know what? I take it back just because they incorporated the numbers.
Now you like it.
Good for them.
It's that was a long journey to get to where you like it. It's nowhere near. I like the Hollywood one. I think that one's good. But
my favorite one will always be of the more recent ones is the 31. I really enjoyed just, hey, it's a play button because we're all streaming now. Okay.
I wanted them to put the 31 in the play button. I think I wrote a whole article up about like ranking the WrestleMania logos or something. I don't know. Check that out on EWN. Do a search for it. Somewhere it's out there. I know I did some kind of like history of the WrestleMania logo thing. But Extreme Rules is a different type of entity. And they made a point tonight to say the one night a year where every match is extreme. And I was like, I'm going to take note of that because maybe that's a direct thing to be like, look, we want to do this going forward the way that it should have been, where every match is extreme, because that's how it started. It was every match on the card is supposed to have some sort of gimmick or stipulation to it. And then eventually WWE, in typical fashion, did okay, well, this is a stipulation, but it's not extreme. It's just that somebody has to kiss the other one's foot after the match or whatever. Or, well, this is technically a stipulation because it's a handicap match. And then they got to the point where they're like, look, well, we had one Extreme Rules match on the card. Isn't that fucking good enough? And I hate that so much. So I'm very happy that they made a point to say that on this card and that they'll probably do that going forward. Because, I mean, at the very least, if you're calling this thing Extreme Rules and that's what it's supposed to be about, do the damn thing, Like, don't do a pay-per-view called Royal Rumble and be like, we don't really need one of those matches, do we?
But yeah, I'm all in on this show. I think it was a solid show. And once I really looked at the card on paper, I was like, wow, this is actually putting your best foot forward, I think, with the exception of no Roman.
Two things on the pre-show panel that I had noticed. One of them was Kevin Patrick had said that this was the first strap match that they had since 2013. I think
I believe that.
I was like, that doesn't seem right to me. I'm fairly certain that there's been one strap match in the past 10 years. It had to have been.
Hold on. No. Wait a minute. That's not right. Brian and Wyatt at Royal Rumble before the pandemic.
There you go. See? So, wrong about that, right? I was just like, there couldn't have been since 2013. Even if they do with that kind of thing where it's like, oh, well, it's not a strap match. It's like a match involving a strap. It's like not a strap match. But I thought it was weird that this ended the kickoff with a promo for Bobby Lashley.
I don't think that's what ended the kickoff. I think what ended the kickoff is because those promos, they're just sort of played, So maybe it wasn't meant to be like, you're promoting Lashley at the end of the kickoff. Maybe it was kickoff's over. Here's this Lashley promo for Peacock.
Just weird to me that it was like, we're going to talk about Bobby Lashley for a minute and hype up the United States title. Then it's like Bobby Lashley's like the almighty. And then it just cuts away. And I'm like, he's not on the card, right? That's kind of.
People did that shit where it was like, they did a promo for Charlotte. I guess she's coming back. And it's like, no, they do this every month. She's not coming back. This is what they do for Peacock.
Oh, they started off the actual show with the good old fashioned Donnybrook match, which they made a point to say the textbook definition of Donnybrook. He's just pretty much like Webster's dictionary defines a Donnybrook as. I thought it was funny that they did that. I'm Googling right now old slang and phrases to try to use that I've never heard of before. Flub the dub is something. To give someone the wind. Don't sell me a dog was a fancy way of saying don't lie to me. Don't sell me a dog. What?
Well, I'm not going to sell you a dog, and I'm going to tell you, this was a banger. They delivered. They delivered in every way here. I like watching these six go at it.
Hey, you're speaking out of your sauce box there. This made me a total giggle mug. God, that's awful. I'm not going to keep doing these. This is a fun match. They had these props ringside. There were these barrels and these like bar set kind of equipment. At some point I don't know what I had heard that was like what he actually had said, but it sounded to me, I was looking down at my food at the time. I was eating some chicken parm. So of course my attention was diverted elsewhere. It sounded like somebody on commentary said that someone had picked up a bucket of nut sacks. And I was like, that can't possibly be right. Of course. And when I looked up, throughout the whole rest of the match, I never saw a bucket of anything. Was there a bucket at any point in this? And
there
was
were barrels. There was not a monkey. There was not a bucket.
Not a monkey either.
I was looking at the old slang and I came across monkey's uncle, and then so that's why I always said monkey.
People used to call an umbrella a rain napper. Okay, yeah. There's 82 on this list. There's no way I'm reading that third. Hump the swag? What? To hump the swag means not what you think it means, but to carry your luggage on your back. Yeah, I'm glad we don't use that phrase anymore. Donnybrook is not a phrase that I've said more than a few times in my life. It's not like on the list of, hey, it's a fight or something. I've said it more times, I think, at this point than Hootenanny or one of those. But they had some fun with this stuff. They had some broken shillelaghs. They had a good clover leaf going on at one point. Sheamus on Gunther. Crowd was eating it up, loving the boo yeah type of spot. And we got a finish here where the Brawling Brutes got the win, which I got wrong. Because I was just expecting Imperium gets to win. I'm still in that, like, this is how Vince McMahon would book it mindset, so I have to get out of that. But I'm pretty sure that if Vince was making the call here, he would have been like, well, you got to go with Imperium because they're the heels and screw you, that kind of thing. But instead, Brawling Brutes get the win when they take out Gunther with a Celtic Cross at the table, and they eventually are able to land a brogue kick on Giovanni Vinci. It's a lot of fun.
The finish of this match where they take out Gunther and the Brawling Brutes hold Vinci for the brogue kick, it felt so logical, and just like it was just a happy ending in the opening match. Thumbs up. Probably the best match of the night for me. This was absolutely fantastic.
A lot of positives in the chat right now. Sniper saying this was a good match to start out the night. Brandon saying best match of the night. And loved this match. Sheamus is on a different level right now. Sheamus is so good right now. The run of his career. Yeah, he's really doing
I can't think of too many veterans that have turned it around in the way that Sheamus has. But at one point, he was just like a generic WWE guy. And now he's just banger after banger after banger, and it's great. Like, you love to see this guy getting his flowers while he still can. And big thumbs up for this match. I'm convinced, whether it's on SmackDown, Crown Jewel, or whatever, Sheamus and Gunther will settle their rivalry in a steel cage.
Let's see if you can guess this. What are frog sticks?
Frog sticks. I'm going to say frog sticks are your legs.
French fries, apparently.
All right.
I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 more. We're going to keep this train going. What does it mean when you refer to something as hounds on an island? What is that?
Very rambunctious and desperate individuals.
Frankenbeans.
What?
If you order your meat on the hoof, what is it?
Oh, off the bone?
Served rare.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And what is dog soup?
Oh, God, Lord. Gravy.
I'll give you a hint. The 2 other versions of this are City Juice and Adam's Ale.
Some kind of... Is it specifically beer, or is it some kind of other alcohol?
Neither.
Okay, what is it?
Water. So instead of saying water, people used to say city juice or dog soup. Now what are these phrases?
Let me get some of that city juice there, fella. Eh?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a second here. I'm gonna take just a swig of
Your Adam's
Some good old dog soup right there. Dancer Peter in the chat, you like Sheamus now, right? Yeah, Sheamus has been doing. I mean, I didn't like Sheamus at the beginning of his career. I didn't understand why he was winning the championship and beating John Cena and doing all that. But he won me over a few years after that, pretty much after the constant matches with Alberto Del Rio. And over the past years, ever since like prior to the bar, I would say, Sheamus has been, two thumbs up. This is definitely the best part of his career.
When Sheamus came on TV.
Yeah.
And I think with the bar and beyond, he's one of my favorite guys in the ring.
I see that Ted's been trying to answer these to Chick-fil-A fries, McDonald's fries, Franken peas, just broth. Yeah, this is I kind of want them to continue these old school terms just to keep this joke going, but we won't go. We spent all 2 hours talking about that. Good opener match. Again, nothing on the line, but that's okay for a B-level pay-per-view or whatever. We eventually got 3 segments of this, but we'll talk about all 3 of them right now, just because why not? Backstage, they did a whole thing with The Miz, and he had been interviewed with Megan Morant, talking about the Monday Night Raw celebration that's coming up, his birthday, everything. And he bumps into Gritty. For those who don't know who Gritty is the Philadelphia Flyers mascot, which is kind of like if you took the Philly Fanatic and merged him with like the Samoa cookie and gave him Coke. Like this character immediately when it came on the scene, when people are like, here's the new mascot, everybody was like, don't let it around your kid. Like so this dude looks fucking whacked out. So it seemed like it was going to be Dexter Lumis inside of that, and he gives The Miz a t-shirt and he stomps on it, and they carry this on throughout the night. They pop back up here and there, and it eventually leads to The Miz just beating it up, which I'm like, all right, yeah, good. Take that, Gritty, you weird looking fucker. And then Dexter Lumis pops up behind The Miz. He's not in the suit. He chokes The Miz out, puts him next to Gritty, who gets helped back up, and then kicks The Miz just for, good measure.
The Miz was like nearly in bootleg Jim Carrey mode here. Like the facials, the overreacting. Yeah, like full Jim Carrey. It's fine, but I think the wrestling critics and the wrestling fans at large are now on the same page. Get to the fucking point. Why is this happening? Why are they feuding? What is the issue? Why are we cheering the man who's stalking this poor man's wife and children? Like, get to the point.
I still maintain this should have been some sort of gimmick match for Extreme Rules. Anything. Even if they would have just gone in the direction of like a regular match around the ring, but with some kind of a gimmick to it, it should have been on there. I don't think that this makes up for it, but I did chuckle at it because the incorporation of Gritty in there was something that I wasn't expecting. So
the first usage of Triple H as an on-screen authority. Because all night, Miz kept going, I'm going to talk to Triple H about this. And then he showed up outside his office.
True.
And that's where it ended.
Yeah, because, I mean, he popped up on SmackDown, but it was just, hey, welcome to the premiere. Think he's going to pop up on Raw?
Well, he is on Raw. They're celebrating DX.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The main thing announced for Raw.
Totally forgot that was supposed to be this week. Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll pop up as, like, DX Triple H or something.
I'm thinking they're gonna confront the Bloodline. Or the Bloodline will confront DX. Either way. Yeah, I think that's absolutely what's gonna happen. So Roman Reigns can say, I have 2 words for you, acknowledge me.
I like it.
But no.
He's not gonna say, I got 2 words for you, dog soup or something.
No, he's not gonna say dog soup. I liked it. I think it's fun. Miz is good. Like I look, I know a lot of people don't like Miz. Miz is great at his job. It's just explain what's going on here because now it's getting old, and I just kind of want to move on.
Since they're in an era where they can't make as many crass jokes as they used to, looking up these old-timey phrases for male genitalia and anatomy. They could use the phrase instead of, I got 2 words for you, suck it. They could talk about their gentleman usher, the staff of life, the Cyprian scepter, the maypole, Master John Goodfellow. If they want to refer to the female anatomy, you could throw out a reference to Mount Pleasant or Mrs. Fubb's Parlor. This might become a recurring thing. I don't know. Peter suggesting that Miz and Dexter Lumis might have had a steel cage match, but the fight pit killed it. I wouldn't think necessarily a steel cage.
No, just do a House of Horrors. Like, you can do a cinematic match with Dexter. It doesn't matter that it's the pandemic. Or that it's not the pandemic. Like, just do something.
Sniper tosses out the idea of false count anywhere. There's nothing that stands out to me that seems like, okay, this is what it's screaming to be.
They could have had the strap match in the sense that, like, okay, Miz can't run away. But in order to do that, you need to establish, why are you after him?
Yeah, they really need to, at least in some fashion, say, the Miz is the target because blank. And
blank could literally be anything. Just get to the blank.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're probably sitting there going, don't you worry about blank. I'll worry about blank. Blank.
You're not like the big picture.
Futurama is such a good show. Yeah, underrated as all hell. Frankie brings up Backlot Raw. Maybe we get a Boiler Room Raw or something.
Yeah, something like that would have been great.
Yeah. Speaking of great, and then moving on from it, the Extreme Rules match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was oh my god, this was sloppy. This had zero energy from the crowd. It's like they were just booing both women. It sounded to me like they were positive for Liv. But they definitely
the entrance, but they definitely moved on quickly.
They were definitely very anti-Ronda. And some of the notes that I had written down on here, Morgan came out looking like a star. Like she had this, purple and green ring gear on. She had this bat that was all tricked up with this little chain to it or barbed wire or whatever the hell it was supposed to be.
She couldn't decide whether she was doing like Joker, Riddler, Harley. She was just all of it.
Yeah, the Riddler jacket with the Harley Quinn vibe and the Joker colors and all that.
She definitely had like some kind of question mark on her jacket.
It seemed like it, yeah. Like old school Riddler from the was it like the 3rd Batman animated series or something, rather than we're talking like Frank Gorshin or anything. But that was the thing. The start of this made no sense whatsoever because she has this bat, and as soon as she gets into the ring, she puts it off to the side and decides to pose, and then squares up with Ronda and immediately tries to get the bat. And it's like, well, then why the fuck did you drop the bat? You gave her the option to just go over and pick it up.
One of the issues with this match I had was the lack of logic. Like Liv Morgan keeps, I don't know, am I gonna hit you? The fucking hit her. Hit her. If it was real, you would just pick up the fucking bat and slug it at her. Come on.
Yeah, that made no sense. There was a spot in this where Morgan's got the bat and Rousey throws her gi that she had worn to the ring at Morgan with the idea in mind that if this would have been executed well, it would have been, I throw this thing at you and you're temporarily blinded and you take a second to take that off of your head, which gives me a moment to grab a weapon and hit you with it, and then you drop the bat. That's what they were going for. And instead, Rousey took so long to get her whatever whip or strap or whatever that she had going on, that Morgan had to basically fumble with the gi for like an extra 3 or 4 seconds and look like she had no idea of how she could take that off. So she looked absolutely stupid, which is not necessarily her fault. It's an impromptu. You just got to go with it and improv that you can't do this for some reason while you wait for this person to set up their thing. And then she basically takes it off and watches Ronda get a weapon and hit her, because at that point you're past the point of, I can't fumble with this for 20 seconds straight. So that was bad. And then they followed it up pretty soon afterward with this even worse thing where they wedged a chair between the top and the middle turnbuckle, and then it falls out. And they continue to do what the planned spot was, which was that Morgan would like fall backward and then kick.
She's done this before. So it's the move. It's kind of like a surfboard where she falls back with her feet in the person's back, and then that would lunge Ronda theoretically into the corner post where the chair was.
Yeah, it's like a backstabber that pushes you forward.
However, there's no chair there, which wasn't necessarily the whole problem, because I think what happened was Ronda realizes there's no chair there and then refuses to go.
It seemed like that was the case. Like she decided, well, I guess we're not doing that anymore. And then Morgan falls thinking, I guess we're just going to do it anyway.
Why aren't you going?
Yeah. So she just basically falls, and then they start and do it all over again.
Yeah, and it was just like, this match was really clunky, and I wasn't a fan at all. I will say this, the senton through the table, clean. Nice, smooth break right through the center. Liv Morgan looked like she was having the time of her life. I was happy to see her get locked in the armbar and eventually like laugh while passing out, and her eyelash completely came off her face, and I thought that was funny. But yeah, like this is fine. Ronda's champion as she should be.
Boo.
All is right in the world going into Survivor Series. Ronda and Shayna should join Damage Control for War Games.
This is very, you try to have your cake and eat it too. You don't want Morgan to lose, but you have to have her lose because you're clearly going with Ronda, and she doesn't tap out, but she passes out, and she's, hey kid, you look like a badass when you lost anyway. It doesn't undo the fact that she had a pretty lackluster title reign, and I don't think that these apologists that are going to be coming out for sure, guaranteed, that will start saying, oh, Liv Morgan had a good run. No, she didn't, guys. Come on. I like Liv Morgan.
She had a better run than I expected her to. I'll say that.
You can like somebody and say that they had a bad title reign. This is the issue that we've had with Champs Giving in the past, where people are like, oh, Stone Cold is the best champion of every title that he won. And it's like, no, he didn't necessarily have the best title reign for every one of his belts.
He didn't have the best title reign for any of his title belts.
But I bet you if we put down, for instance, like Champs Giving, who is the best $1 million champion of all time, people will probably vote Austin and the Ringmaster because they just like him. And that's not what you should really do, but people are, we established at the beginning of this.
And I think that Morgan's run was good. They should have never had her cash in so early. She should have never cashed in on Ronda. She comes out of this better, but by no means is she like an established main event star or anything.
Well, like Frankie says in the chat, it's a big question. Is this, does Liv bounce back and win something down the road, or is this it for her? And I go,
all right, I don't want to say no. I shouldn't say no right off the bat, but I feel like, knowing what we know about names like Nikki, and even on the men's side, like Otis won Money in the Bank and he's Otis, or even the Miz.
Yeah.
And I mean, for God's sakes, Miz beat Cena at Mania, and even he couldn't overcome his own aura, And
I think that Morgan is basically in that same range where they gave her a bad cash in. She didn't just beat Ronda. She barely beat Ronda. And then she had this fluke win, and then she barely beat Shayna Baszler, and then she lost. So I don't see what the great title reign is here. And that's not a knock on Liv Morgan. That's a knock on her booking.
I hope that I'm wrong here, though. I hope that they keep her energy up. I'm using the term energy a lot tonight. I hope that they keep her, keep her hot, keep her like Becky in 2016 when she lost the SmackDown title, did have some growing pains for 2 years. But as long as, you can get Liv Morgan to a place where she can stay at least upper mid card, I think we're okay.
She is in a spot right now that, and I'm not saying that they should do this because I don't think that they have the room for it. But if there were women's mid-card titles, she would be the champion.
I agree.
Like, it'd probably be like her and Raquel would be the two champions right now.
I think she should be one of the 3 or 4 main focal points going into the women's Royal Rumble.
Hopefully they'll keep her in that range at least. But I do agree with Frankie bringing it up. He said, Tony, I know you're against Becky versus Ronda, but we technically didn't see it, and I think it's justified for Mania. It's going to happen, so be prepared.
It needs to fucking happen. Listen, I flat out said this. If they do not do this, that's the most money on the table that you could ever leave in terms of a women's match. Yes, by the time we get there, listen, I think it's a shame that by the time we get there, it would have been nearly 5 years since people wanted to see it, but you have to get there.
Yeah. Believe me, I'll run it down enough times.
We're going to run it down so much between February and March.
I'll just say this. I care less and less about seeing it as time goes on, and Ronda Rousey winning this belt tonight didn't change that opinion. If anything, it made me still firmly more in that range.
That's WWE's fault. Because it should have happened 4 years ago. They should have been the one-on-one main event. Charlotte didn't need to be added, but that's another story for another day, because we will have time to break that down, I'm sure, going into Mania.
I mean, if I can think of a single WrestleMania rematch that I wanted to be at WrestleMania, I would say it. Because there's not any coming to my mind.
Like, you mean just like at this upcoming WrestleMania?
At any of them. Like, I don't think that The Rock and John Cena needed to have 2 matches. I especially don't think that Undertaker and Triple H should have had 3 matches at WrestleMania. I don't think Shawn Michaels should have had that second match with Undertaker. I think it should have been Shawn and Triple H. I was not looking forward to any 4 whatever matches of Brock and Roman.
I'd like to have a Darkcast discussion one day about that Shawn and Triple H thing, because I feel very much the same way.
Are you guys interested in that being a Darkcast? Because we haven't done the Darkcast for this month, so let me know.
We can absolutely do it.
Let me go write this down as a possible note. Darkcast, I don't like rematches. Triple H versus HBK. Maybe we do that next week. That was kind of our plan, was to potentially do that. I will say, to address this, we didn't talk about this on the hot tags, and because we didn't get an opportunity to, because it didn't happen yet. But on SmackDown this past night, we had this little thing with the Viking Raiders. It was like this tease and this woman talking. I'm assuming that's Sarah Logan. Yeah.
What do you mean this woman? It was, who looks like that? Who looks like that and hangs around the Vikings? It was Sarah.
Right. I'm assuming. I mean, it's 99% sure, but who fucking knows? Maybe they end up just being like, it's Mei Yang.
That'd be great. Sarah Logan coming back could give Liv Morgan something to do.
Probably you'll end up being who she feuds with, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll be teaming with her. I think she'll be feuding with her. Frankie says, I remember way back when Tony said Barrett should have faced Undertaker one of those years he faced Triple H. And I still totally agree. Yep. That's definitely, I think it should have been that.
I'm not going to sit here and say that they went the wrong way with Triple H that year, but like Barrett, it should have been Barrett.
I think Undertaker Sheamus should have happened too. To go back to the thing about me being positive on Sheamus. What's the Cameron Grimes or LA Knight comment from? That's not from the Sarah Logan thing, right? I hope not. That's not Sarah Logan. It's Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, that's Cameron Grimes.
Yeah. But yeah, we got a new SmackDown Women's Champion. It's Ronda Rousey, which pretty much means, hey, let's just skip to Mania, because that's basically what's going to happen. It's going to be Ronda.
We have War Games to get through. Once we get through War Games, then we can skip to.
I'm not interested in anything that Rousey's going to be doing going forward. I can't think of anything that really stands out, because the only thing that really would have been entertaining to me is if she would have fought Shayna when Shayna mattered, and she hasn't mattered in like 3 years. Basically since the beginning of 2020? Yeah.
Yeah, since she moved up to main roster and was a vampire.
Yeah, 2 years. So pandemic comes around and Shayna Baszler loses all her credibility. It's a shame. But that match was rough to get through. Liv Morgan drops the title, and we're going to get some more Ronda Rousey pretending to be a babyface and getting booed, or pretending to be a heel and still getting booed, but in the wrong way going forward. Brandon was expecting a Charlotte return. I still think that she's going to come back by the end of the year.
She'll come back when she damn well pleases.
I think she'll be back by the end of the year, but I don't really know when.
I can see a pitch for her to participate in War Games.
Yeah. I actually think she might not come up until after that. I think they might save that for closer to December. Or maybe they might just wait until Royal Rumble.
It could be Charlotte, Ronda day one.
Yeah, they could potentially do that. Peter says Grindson Knight was from the best $1 Million Championship one. Yeah, that's right. Following this match, we had the strap match, which Caroline was disappointed that it wasn't a strap-on match. I was like, yeah, that's not this Triple X Extreme Rules.
I'll say this about this match. I looked at this and said, these two look like the most traditional main eventers to come through WWE in years.
Not that this is the same vibe in like storyline or even caliber or whatever, but this has the same wavelength, I guess I could phrase it as Diesel versus Undertaker WrestleMania 12, where it's like, hey, these are two big guys that are main event types and they're feuding with each other.
Right. Now, match itself, I actually liked it. I find that I like strap matches more when they're not doing the four corners gimmick. Pretty good, except for I didn't like the ending. Because, yes, I understand that, McIntyre can't hit Scarlett, but to have to let her stand there and pull out something to hurt you makes McIntyre look weak. And yes, again, different time, and you can't all be Stone Cold and, stunning women or in the rock bottom on Stephanie. But, like, man, at least move her out of the way or attempt to,
Yeah, I can see what you're going with.
And also, I just think it should have been the choke out. You should have used the strap to choke him out and get the win that way instead of hitting that Lex Luger forearm.
Doesn't even have metal plate.
I know.
I'm assuming they didn't do that because of the Liv Morgan passing out, and later on we had another submission. So
that's true.
It's not the best, not the worst. It was a match. That was fine.
So where does Kross go from here?
I'm assuming they're gonna have another match. I don't know what though.
Like in general, because that at some point Drew's going to be the captain of the team opposing the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Who is Kross going to feud with? My only guess at this point is Strowman. And then who wins that?
Yeah, Strowman is as good of an option as I would assume that you've got. And it might happen more towards that Mania. It might be something else along the way. I don't know.
I can see it being a Survivor Series day one match. And then potentially maybe you get Kross out of that by having interference against Strowman. But we'll get there when we get there, if we get there.
Yeah. At least he won here.
Right call.
He needed to win.
That I can say. There were pretty much no bad booking calls in my eyes, except for the match we're about to talk about, because we're going to have different opinions on this. But I hate that Bayley did not win the Raw Women's Championship from Bianca Belair.
And my major takeaway was raining praise on Bianca Belair for being on par with the Four Horsewomen, where I was like, you know what? They really made a point to solidify her tonight as you are equal, if not superior, than those four. You're not on the range right below them and where you can't quite break into that upper echelon. I don't think that this was as great as it could have been, and I think that they could have done some things better. And there is one element of the ending that I'm going to agree with you on. I think was a little bit overkill, but the match I thought was fun. There were some spots here and there that were like, whatever. Like Bayley hurt herself more when the elbow drop.
Yeah, the elbow drop.
Yeah. But they They did some things. Nothing that was, again, this is the way that most ladder matches are these days. Everybody goes nuts over, oh man, it's going to be a ladder match. It's going to be great. And most of them are kind of just meh. We don't really tend to get wow factor ladder matches anymore because they've done everything. And unless you're Kofi Kingston and you can just pull stuff out of your ass, then it's basically the same sort of moves. But Dakota Kai and Io Sky rushed the ring towards the end. They were trying to help out Bayley. And instead of getting any help from anybody else, which they tried to make a point, they're like, nobody's going to help her because Alexa Bliss and Asuka were taken out. Asuka was injured. Alexa, I mean,
she's busy.
Like, he still got Raquel, you still got Shotzi. Like, yeah.
Lily kept Alexa away from the ring.
So I didn't quite like the idea to an extent that Belair was able to take out Io and Dakota and Bayley and retain the title and just, strong arm 3 people that are probably going to be the focal points of the War Games match. But I don't disagree with the idea that she retained the title.
I do, because I still think the end game is to put it on Bayley. And I think that this was the best spot to do it. You have every excuse in the book. You don't even have to pin her shoulders to the mat. And you have her kind of superwoman her way out of this, which on the one hand, yes, Bianca is the super athlete she claims to be. She's fantastic. She is on par with the horsewomen. Everybody knows that, though. It wasn't like, oh, you didn't beat Bayley 3 times when you were SmackDown Women's Champion. Like, I just sort of feel like in the long run, while people might be giving this a thumbs up now, in the long run, I'm worried that she's going to become John Cena-esque.
Ted in the chat says she's Cena of the women's division.
Exactly, in that she can't lose. Like, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And yes, the Attitude Era was different, and there were a lot of shenanigans because the TV mattered so much, and it was always about hooking you for the next week of TV. Yes, I understand that. But how are you going to tell me that you can't look at the picture here and go, all right, we'll throw everything at you, and then you lose, and then you can eventually win the belt back at some point. By having her win here, it's just like, cool, fuck Asuka, fuck Bliss, because she didn't need him. She, literally, damage control has been controlled, and yes, they can horseman the way out of this by, never acknowledging that they lost and just say, we're still better than you, and get their heat back. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried that, oh no, Bianca's going to start to get Cena heat. Because, yeah, we all love Cena now, but never
for years he was booed constantly.
Never forget that. For almost a good decade, nearly a decade, it was like, I hate this guy. This guy always wins. Why can't this guy lose? And I don't want Bianca to start getting that reaction because she's too good for that. Know when to take the fall. And I'm not saying she outright refused to lose here, but know when it's good for her to lose. And I think it would have been really good for her to lose here. Because, okay, she won a ladder match. What, cool, that's another check for her, but what is she really gaining by winning this ladder match? Outside of, all right, damage control, I've seen you defeated already. Now you have to work into how is Bayley going to get another match, if she is going to get another match. You know what I mean? It just feels like you're giving yourself more work when you could have just said, oh, Bianca lost. But that being said, in reality, they're probably keeping her strong for Charlotte at WrestleMania.
See, I am always reserving a little bit of hindsight potential where if they put the belt on Bayley, I'm going to fully agree with you. They should have just done it here. But if they continue on and they have some other kind of plan in mind, then I think maybe it's better to just keep it on Bianca. But I'm going to reiterate a point I said earlier this week. I forget which podcast it was. One of the two that we did this week. I really feel like WWE is kind of just going, look, we've got like 5 things we want to do over the course of 4 months. And we really should probably only have 2 pay-per-views and we should cram this all together, but we have to stretch it out. And I don't think that there are enough legs for this damage control thing to continue through the rest of this next month and Crown Jewel and then into November with Survivor Series. Because what are they going to do?
Like you said, strap Bayley at Crown Jewel. And if they do that, then I'm going to fully go, you should have just done it in the ladder match.
And if they do that, they shouldn't, because she just lost. So why is she getting another title shot?
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying no. Like, again, I'll use the Austin thing. Austin always had quick title reigns because he knew, hey, I'll get screwed out of the belt and then I'll come back and win it and people go crazy.
And I don't want to see, for instance, Bayley loses this match. She had the previous match at Clash at the Castle, and then you get a match at Crown Jewel, and then you get the War Games match, and then you do another match.
And then you do another one.
Right, and then she wins the title belt at day 1 or whatever. I don't want some 7-month feud, because I don't think that the story has enough to it. I'm okay with long feuds if the story has enough twists and turns. But I don't want a feud that goes on forever just because you have nothing else you want to do. And Bayley and Bianca had a 4-month feud or whatever as it was before, or felt like it at least, where they were just saying Bayley gets another shot. I don't want to see that again. That was terrible. Don't just keep giving her shots.
It's going to be interesting to see who they weave into the story heading into War Games, because that's going to, maybe play out who gets the shots at Bianca. But right now, I'm saying I didn't like this decision. I think it does kind of give her that Cena heat, at least in my eyes. And if they end up putting the belt on Bayley, we're all going to look at it and go, meh, should have done it in the ladder match.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. I can see in the chat that we've got some of the same kind of opinions, some of them, here and there. I thought Sasha and Naomi might come out to help. That would have been kind of fun.
Talk about this. Nikita Lyons is in the crowd.
Ron Breaker was in the crowd too.
Yeah, that was interesting. They're just like, hey, NXT, don't forget.
Yeah. There's a thing here. I'm worried Ronda versus Bianca at Survivor Series. The fact that they're not doing the brand warfare thing means I'm expecting no champion versus champion matches.
They could theoretically still just do it, but I fully expect Bianca to be involved in War Games.
Yeah, I still think so too, but maybe she ends up fighting Rhea or something. I don't know. We'll see. We got some time, but retrospect will change some opinions, I'm sure. After that, we had the I Quit match, Edge against Finn Balor. Balor coming out wearing something that I equated to a couple different things. One of them being a scrubber that I have in my sink right now. One of them being, of course, a GIMP mask. One of them being did he just see Hellraiser for the first time? Caroline pointed out that there's like the exact same mask as in a trailer for American Horror Story, which I looked up the trailer for that. I'm like, yep, it's exactly the same. You're right. I'm not really feeling the new theme either. How are you feeling about this new presentation?
The mask was fine, but because literally no other element of the presentation had changed from like the jacket or the pants, the mask just felt like a weird addition. So if he had added more to the jacket and the outfit, I could have gotten behind the mask, because plenty of people did. And the music, meh, but I don't like any of their music right now in WWE.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see.
This was wild. This was fun. They got me good because this match was long, guys. This is a very long match. They fit in every bit of shenanigans that we could have asked for. they did do the spot with Beth while Edge was handcuffed to the ring, and Beth actually gets a babyface comeback on Rhea, unlocks Edge, and I'm like, oh god, they're gonna fucking put Edge over the Judgment Day, and thankfully Rhea Ripley knocks out Beth Phoenix, and they got back on track. But this match had a lot to it, including maybe the first time Dominic Mysterio had balls for 5 seconds and just started beating the shit out of his dad. That was an unexpected, pop from me.
Did he have balls or did he have a bucket of nutsacks?
Yeah, he was definitely showing his Master Johnson or whatever that was.
Yeah, I forget what it was. A gentleman's something or other. I shouldn't try to laugh when I'm breathing like that. Yeah, there's Frankie pointing out that's your damn father. Michael Cole going a little nuts over that.
Yeah, Michael Cole was pissed. But admittedly, after what, like a month? This is the first time Dominic was just like, fuck this guy. Yeah. And just started beating up his dad, which was good. Yeah. We needed some of that.
Yeah, I wasn't digging the Dominic stuff, but I was a fan of the Beth Phoenix spots. And we had mentioned this prior with our predictions part of the pay-per-view point, that it was like, all right, something's going to happen where it's like Beth and or the girls are in trouble, and that's why he quits. And it was the right call. But even more so, I really liked that they just went ahead and did the concerto. Like, all right, you're going to quit? Nah, well, we do it anyway. Bang,
I fully expect. In fact, if they wouldn't have done it, I would have questioned what's wrong with them. I fully expected them to follow through. This was really good. I think, this is a match I feel like Callum probably didn't enjoy. This is one of those, Edge's stuff goes a little long in the tooth, and I can agree with that. And it was, a lot, but I think they made all the right calls. You're now looking forward to Beth Phoenix against Rhea Ripley, and that's something that they wanted to. They could even save for Mania, that's a really fun match. And I think it finally gives Rhea Ripley something to sink her teeth into.
Other than Dominic?
Well, we don't know because they haven't shown any of that. And let me, real quick, because I know I touch on this every time we talk about them, but here's my issue with that. Dominic's entire presentation so far, since he's debuted, has been he's a child, right? So by them not showing any actual physical intimacy between Dominic and Rhea, it's like, oh, he's just a kid who, thinks this girl might like him, and therefore is like, yeah, I'm a bad guy now, Dad. It's like, show something.
Maybe they should have done some kind of thing where it was like they were all at catering and she sat down at the same table. And he's like, she's my girlfriend now. I'm like, those pathetic people.
That's what I'm saying. It's really ridiculous. And I think they could fix that story in some ways. But I enjoyed this match a lot. It was a good story. They did more than I thought they would. It's the most airtime Finn Balor's gotten in God knows how long.
Yeah.
So good stuff all around.
I will say one of my negatives that comes out of this, though, is the story's not over, and I don't want to see more Edge against Judgment Day stuff. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, at this point, we're establishing it would have been a full year.
Yeah.
Practically.
I don't want this to be Mania.
If Edge's career is going to end next year, I really, really hope that for however long he's got after this Judgment Day angle, that he just puts on straight bangers, because this has not been the best comeback run, and a lot of that stuff's out of his control, but they can do better.
I would much rather him have a series of feuds that are 1 month long and he puts everything into those 4 weeks than to have 2 feuds that last 3 months a piece. Reading this thing here from Ted. Dominic and Rhea reading each other's love notes to each other at the same time at the lunch table.
No, but that's the problem. Is Rhea Ripley isn't presented like a child.
No.
Dom is.
Still saying that he needs to change his name to Subanic just to go along with it. So Edge is the loser of this match, and Beth gets a concerto, and we move on to the main event of the night, the Fight Pit match between Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. Daniel Cormier, special guest referee. Did you know that Daniel Cormier didn't beat John Jones, but Matt Riddle beat John Jones twice?
In high school. I did. I wrote that article this morning.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith knows, and he gave that to Michael Cole. Cole very callally said it. That's the thing that he had alluded to, that the Triple H was like, oh, just give that note to Cole over the weekend.
I love that.
Yeah, so that just was like, hey, here's the thing, Big fan, of course, of the heartbeat sound anytime that the cage is lowering and they do the whole dum 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 dum. I'm always like, this is making that sound so much cooler. It was a solid match where they did one spot where I was like, oh man, one of them, if not both, are injured. When Riddle jumped off the top of the catwalk area.
And fucking slipped and hit the senton while slipping. Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. The smack from when he fell on Rollins, I was like, all right, Rollins either fucked something up or Riddle fucked something up, or both of them did.
Injury big time. Like,
if not like a legitimate just injury, they're going to be out for a little while. They are going to be bruised to all hell. Riddle probably is going to not be able to perform all that well for a bit. He's not going to be taking some bumps, I would assume. If he is, then it's a tough bastard right there. But that was the worst part of the night for like an injury based for me. And eventually Riddle just gets a win with a kind of blah ending, I'll admit. It just sort of came out of nowhere, and not in like the, oh my god, an RKO out of nowhere, a super kick out of nowhere kind of way. It was just sort of, oh, look at that, he's tapping. Okay.
Well, I thought that they were going to do RKO off the platform, and he ends up RKOing him on the platform, and Rollins just sort of slumps over, and that's when he hits the crazy senton, and then Rollins keeps fighting, and he hits a couple power bombs, but Riddle's able to counter while he's in the powerbomb position into a triangle, and Rollins just sort of casually taps. I enjoyed this a lot. I thought DC was a bit of a distraction in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because they would both kind of push him or something, and he would wait till they were already on top of their opponent to pull them off and go, hey, you're supposed to be fighting him, not me.
Mm.
And it's like, I thought that was a little distracting in the beginning. I enjoyed the tap out. I enjoyed Rollins' RVD gear. I enjoyed the pedigree on the platform. I enjoyed 90% of this, and nobody will ever remember it, because the only thing that will ever be remembered from this night is the aftermath of this match, which was the White Rabbit reveal.
Yeah, Frankie's saying the match suffered because everybody was just waiting for White Rabbit. Brandon saying, I thought the match was kind of lame, honestly. Sniper pointing out everybody just kept chanting for Wyatt. That's basically what the takeaway was here, was Riddle is momentarily celebrating his victory, and the lights go out. And everybody's like, all right, here's the real main event. What's going on with this White Wabbit? Wow, I was going to say White Wabbit. That is terrible. The White Wabbit thing. The White Rabbit is not really like a rabbit. It's something, but it's what we get is...
We got a lot.
We got a lot kind of all jumped together, where the lights go out. Michael Cole's asking if they're still on the air. And I was thinking at the time, I'm like, oh, is Drew McIntyre going to start singing? Fireflies light up their phones, and we've got the song playing. He's got the whole world in his hands. So if you're still on the fence, which most of us were all like, all right, it's probably Bray Wyatt, then that was the yes, it definitely is, because we're not going to do that and do somebody else. It's not like we're going to have, the lights go out and the phones go out and Bray Wyatt is singing the song and whatever, and then hey, look at that, everybody! Steve Blackman's back out.
Yeah,
You know, like,
Eric Rowan.
Yeah. So then they start showing people in the crowd that are dressed up as Huskus the Pig Boy, Mercy the Buzzard, Rambling Rabbit, Abby the Witch. And the Fiend is shown, too.
Yeah, which I thought was good.
And then they cut to the Firefly Funhouse. The puppets are all covered in these like cobwebs and everything, and let's run down and beat the shit. Somebody in a mask pops up on the screen, mumbles something. I couldn't.
Who killed the world? You did. Who killed the world? You did.
Okay, all I heard was, and I'm like,
it was the first White Rabbit QR code.
Yeah. So that person comes out, takes the mask off, holding a blue lantern. It's Bray Wyatt.
Came out of the door. It was very Alice in Wonderland. The door he came out of. Good stuff. Just it was so layered. We're running through it, but it was so layered, and I enjoyed the Fiend being in the crowd because I'm like, good. Because personally, was it a merch mover? Absolutely. I think that the Fiend run should maybe be swept under the rug. Not completely forgotten, but like, let's try to salvage.
Yeah, I don't want him to be coming out and wrestling as the Fiend. I want him to be Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, and like there's nothing wrong with that. He can pull out the Fiend if he really, really needs to, but like I'm hoping that this is just back to Bray Wyatt, you know, a different evolution of Bray Wyatt, and we can kind of get him going again. Like it's so clear when people see his stuff that he is beloved. He's a character people want to get behind. He's a character people want to see. But I said this before. It's been 9 years. And we weren't talking about The Undertaker 9 years into his career. Oh, maybe they'll get it right this time.
Yeah, Undertaker started off immediately a big deal. And it took him some time to, you know, work out the kinks and everything. Remember, he gets started off as somebody coming in from Ted DiBiase on Survivor Series and got Brother Love and everything. You start getting Paul Bearer added into the mix, and they finally tweaked the idea that, hey, maybe he's probably a babyface instead of a heel. And, you know, you've got your feuds with these early people like nobody fucking remembers. If you're talking about the streak, Jimmy Snuka or... Yeah, nobody's going to say their favorite streak match was the Jake Roberts one. Yeah, King Bundy. They're not going to do that. They're going to go straight to like pretty much probably starting at the Diesel one.
Yeah, like I just think that Bray Wyatt needs to click. And I'm hoping that we find out somewhere that, yeah, it really was all this Vince, and it was all Vince. And like he has a great run because he's such a good character. He's got so much charisma. He's got so much lore. If you just list off Bray Wyatt's WrestleManias, and it's a fucking who's who. You know, like nobody's had the run he's had, and they've still managed to fumble the ball every step of the way. So hopefully now, maybe, you know, they learned over the last couple of years that they need main event guys like this, and maybe he can actually start to have a bit of a run.
So for those that are wondering, how do I feel? Fool me once.
Listen. No. Stopping you. Okay?
I thought that this was fun. This is cool. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade or whatever old-timey phrase that they used to use. I don't know. It could be some kind of, you know, the sky is dancing on a salt mine or whatever. I don't know. But I will say, how many times has there been something with Bray Wyatt that has seemed like a cool new twist, only for it to not work out? I am not going to buy into it until they prove to me that there is something different. So if this ends up being 8 fucking months of it's coming, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. And then we get something like we've done in the past. I'm going to just go, I fucking told you so.
Okay. Right, hold on.
But I am assuming that now that Triple H is in charge, we're not going to get that sort of throw it out and we're just going to figure something else out mentality. Because I think that that's probably the biggest thing that screwed over Bray Wyatt. Now, I do still hold the opinion that, like, bell to bell, Bray Wyatt wasn't one of my more favorite performers in the sense that, oh, you put him against anybody who's going to have a great match. But there was potential. There was always potential there. And I want to be in a position like I've been in the past with some other people, like Daniel Bryan, where I was like, I'm not seeing it. And then eventually I saw it. Or with Sheamus, like we were mentioning earlier, where it was like, why is this guy at the top? He doesn't deserve to. And then eventually he reaches a point where I go, yeah, you know what? Give him all the belts. And, you know, I really like him. He needs to prove it before I'm willing to just go, yeah, okay, everything's good now and it's going to be great and I'm going to believe it all. There's been way too many years worth of trust me, and then it fails.
All right. So let me ask you this. Are you more into this, more optimistic about this than you were at SummerSlam 2019 when you saw The Fiend?
Yes.
Okay. And you know what? I will agree with you because, yes, while the Fiend presentation was cool, overall, I think that became a crutch on the character that he didn't need. And I'm hoping that this will be not like the swamp, you know, you can't go back completely. But I'd be kind of into that kind of Bray Wyatt with, you know, the kind of added spookiness. And there's a lot of meat on the bone for this character. Because you've got Randy Burnham alive. You've got the Rollins shit that they both want another shot at. You know, you've got Bliss, who needs to address that in order for her to move on. You've got Braun Strowman. There's so much for this character to do that if you just allow it to happen, you have, I can name you at least like 6 main event programs that you have without even bringing anybody back. You know?
See, I go in a different direction. I don't want them to address any of those things because I think that they were so bad that I'm like, I want Alexa to be as far away from this as possible because I don't like Fiend Alexa.
But she can't be when she's still carrying around the doll.
I want them to just be like, look, now that we got Bray Wyatt back, you can't carry around that doll anymore.
They're not going to do that when the doll is selling merchandise.
Yeah. If I were in charge, I'd be like, fuck that doll. Who cares? By the way, I love that the chat.
I would have never had the doll come back. Like when Charlotte ripped it out, I would have been like, and we never spoke about it again.
That's what I would have done too. I love the chat having Marco with no, Tony, no. And then there's boo, Tony, throw tomatoes.
Yeah, no, like I'm not letting you do this.
But Ted's got it. He's like, I knew it. Tony wasn't going to care. Philly's advanced, so you can't ruin my night. Tony will take your tomatoes and make ketchup.
No, you shit on the Fiend, and credit to you, you were right.
I was just going to say, have I been wrong?
I refuse to let you be right about this one. Okay? Bray Wyatt, this era of Wyatt, if nothing else, and I said this to you off air, if nothing else, this comeback is going to get played for forever. This was such a good moment of WWE production value, shining. Everything was completely shining here. And I think ultimately, and this is why when we talked about Wyndham outside of WWE, we couldn't really find a spot for him.
Yeah, because he's a WWE superstar.
It's because of this exact thing. He's got a lot of ideas. Mm-hmm. At some point, you need the budget behind those ideas. And there's only one place to go.
And also, they blur the lines and everything, but we know the truth. there's a difference between AEW, NWA, Impact, et cetera, and WWE in the sense that WWE is sports entertainment. A lot of the other ones are professional wrestling. And AEW
is sports entertainment.
Yeah, AEW is more leaning towards the direction of, I'm a guy, I do these moves. Aren't you interested in watching what happens between the ring ropes? And, something like Impact is like, hey, we're a little bit of everything, but none of the things we do is actually all that great.
I think Wyndham could have popped up in Impact.
I saw him more there than anywhere else because they're more gimmicky like that.
They would have done it.
They've done the Hardy matches that were the crazy matches and everything at the compound. NWA, of course, would have been an absolute no-go because they're just old school wrestling. We got this big sweaty guy and he does a headlock. Isn't it great?
Is the world champion right now.
Yeah, see, exactly. But WWE is very much the pomp and circumstance, and we're going to give you these vignettes that are going to explore your character and everything. So this is the spot for him. The only person
that we know that made him a deal was Freddie Prinze Jr., who is trying to have a cinematic kind of wrestling show.
Yeah, we have no clue what his promotion's even called, let alone what the presentation's going to be. Because, look at something like WoW. That is a different wrestling show than Monday Night Raw. It just is.
Look, let me put it this way. It's fun to watch as a throwaway hour, but it's not something that I would recommend to a serious wrestling fan.
I haven't even bothered to watch it. I'm not planning on it. Glow, the TV show, was great, but that was just, a drama. So it's not the same thing.
It's still very Glow, honestly. But as far as Wyatt, I loved this. I'm different from you in that I think you absolutely need to address the Randy stuff. There's still so much there. But he won the fucking title at SummerSlam from Braun, Tony, and then Roman Reigns came in, and literally the next 700 days, no one cared about anything but Roman Reigns. There's meat on the bone there. There's, the Braun Strowman stuff. There's a new character in Karrion Kross.
See, that is something that I'm more interested in. I want them to move on from, I don't want Bray against Randy for the 15th time. I don't want Bray against Braun again, or for Alexa to turn into the dark thing again. I want them to just go, hey, what have we not done with The Fiend? Sorry, Alexa, stop. I keep forgetting that you can't talk around like that around an Echo Dot.
So I'm very clear to say Bliss.
Yeah, Bliss is the better way of going. I want them to go in the direction of, hey, look, we haven't seen Wyatt versus Kross. We haven't seen Wyatt versus somebody like Dexter Lumis. We haven't seen, it doesn't even have to be those darker characters. It could be what happens when you put him with somebody like
has he?
No, I don't think so.
So that'll be a fun one.
Is it Drew McIntyre, another good option like that? Let me see what happens with hi Frankie, I saw before you were able to retract that message. Wyatt versus Garbanzo. It's not the match that I would want, but Gargano, I agree. Wyatt versus Gargano can be fun. I might have to start calling him Garbanzo now.
So Johnny Garbanzo.
Garbanzo.
You've got Ciampa. You've got, honestly, as a one-off, I'd like to see him face Gunther.
Did he have a feud with Ray?
No.
If Ray's the masked uber baby face who could, he's
Mania with Ray if Ray feels like putting in the work for a major match.
He's technically supposed to be the king of mystery. That's what Rey Mysterio means. Not that he ever goes into that gimmick. Little side note that we're never going to talk about this again, I would assume. I always thought it was extremely weird, his WCW theme. That
March the...
Yeah, it's always threw me off, and it's just because he's Rey Mysterio doesn't mean that he's actually this kind of character that works with that. But
what we haven't seen, and it's weird. Finn Balor.
Yeah, they did that, didn't they?
They were supposed to do a match where it was the Demon and Sister Abigail. They never did it because one of them got. It It wasn't Ebola. What was it? Meningitis. And they never did it.
Yeah,
So
I thought that we just said it. I don't know. Maybe I blocked it out of my brain.
So you've got that. In the
Ted mentions Edge.
You got Edge.
Frankie mentions Edge too. Yeah.
So like, there's a lot. Again, there's so much for this character. There's so much for this character. Yeah, honest to God, I don't even think. Maybe did he fight the New Day? I was going through the New Day, but I think he might have done that.
It sounds a little familiar because like the power of positivity.
Like, it's been a while. Like there's a lot for this character to do, and I just think like it's only going to get better from here if you let it grow.
Somebody had mentioned it earlier. Let me scroll up to see who had pitched it. Sniper. Real question: Raw or SmackDown? Heel or face? First feud. It's tough for me to like pick a spot because to me, I still think we're in a time frame where
everybody's floating.
Yeah, everybody's going back and forth, and they feel like they need some kind of a draft to settle on that, but that they don't want to do it until after Mania. So they're just gonna basically treat everybody as fuck it. They're just gonna go between back and forth, and then we'll settle it on later on.
I'm going to assume Raw, though.
Probably more so Raw, yeah.
Because Raw needs people.
Because Raw's also, 3 hours, so there's more of a chance that you could do some kind of shtick.
Right.
Yeah, SmackDown, they don't play as much into the sports thing as they could, probably, because they are, Fox Sports and everything. They probably could just be like, hey, we got Ronda, we got Brock, we got all these other things that, they've had, but they didn't really play as much into. But, we can get Bray against the Judgment Day and do some stuff with Damian Priest, and then that would be mostly of a Raw thing. We could get some stuff with like a Kevin Owens. That would be kind of interesting. I really see that.
We never got that match. I'd be into that.
Eventually we got to see Cody as a match.
Yeah, that's a world title match.
I'm assuming that that's the case, yeah. But I don't want to see, for instance, for them to be like, well, we don't really have anything for Omos to do, so let's do that. That's not one that would be coming into my mind. And I don't want to see Wyatt up against Roman right now. I know that a lot of people would jump straight to that.
To be at some point.
That's probably the match that most people would go, I'll just go like that. I'd be okay if he's on the babyface side of things, which we don't know yet. Could be a heel. I'd be okay with starting a feud with Baron Corbin. A little like softball feud.
Corbin needs to toughen up before then.
It's certainly not going to be with like Maximum Male Models or with, I highly doubt that this isn't to crap on any of these people, but like you're not going to spend all this Bray Wyatt energy and give him a match with Riddick Moss or Ricochet or Shanky or Shinsuke Nakamura or...
Would love to see him rehabbed.
I don't think that it would make sense for him to go against Gunther right now.
As a one-off, I would love that. Bliss tweeted, "Hello, old friend." They need to wrap that up. I'm sorry, Tony. I saw a giant lily go after Shayna Baszler. I need a payoff to that.
I think if you need some kind of a payoff, he should just do like a Firefly Funhouse type thing and be like, this is my thought on that.
I hope that's dead. I hope
this is that.
Like, even more than The Fiend, I hope Mr. Rogers, Bray Wyatt never comes back.
I don't think that they're going to do it. But I mean, like something in that vein of like promo wise, you allude to it, but you don't actually just continue. Because I'm not invested in watching Alexa Bliss under the spell of Bray Wyatt again.
No, but I
Liv Morgan and Seth's Twitter accounts are black now.
Are they?
According to the chat.
Liv Morgan's definitely teasing something. Rollins has the United States title match, so I don't think he's teasing anything. Yeah, it is. Morgan's is at least. Oh, it's completely blacked for the header and the photo. Interesting. Is this Is this a sign that that's something that's happening there?
Could be. I mean, they did just have her laugh as she was getting her ass kicked and, having this darker kind of edge. We know that she's a fan of the Harley Quinn character.
Oh, by the way, you saw Black Phone, right?
Yeah. Good movie.
Is it the mask that he was wearing?
I couldn't quite tell. It seemed like it was kind of a cross between that and like a rabbit. So I was thinking maybe it had sort of the same vibes as the one from Donnie Darko.
Yeah, very Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
We watched that movie. Go watch along. We watched it with Caroline.
We watched that?
Yeah.
Man, we've done enough of these that I'm like, I forget which things have happened with that and which ones haven't. That's on Fantrax. Everybody go ahead and check that out. Fanboysanonymous.com. If you want us to watch some other movies like that too, then let us know. Frankie's suggesting Sasha Banks and Naomi join him.
No.
I don't think that would be the right way to go, but I would be curious at the very least how they would pull it off, because I would be like, I can't imagine them having that sort of character, but I could see the Liv Morgan thing working out potentially. But again, I kind of like Bray Wyatt just as Bray Wyatt. And I don't know if he needs followers to do any of those things. Peter's suggesting Liv could be Abby the Witch if they want to, like, kind of move people towards certain spots. If we're trying to figure out spots for them, I mean, I don't know who would be who. Anybody stand out to you as like, that person's definitely Huskus the Pig Boy?
Otis.
Got Otis as Huskus, Otis the Pig Boy, and
for Mercy, you got Joe Gacy.
See, now Joe Gacy is a guy that if they're going to give Bray Wyatt followers, I'm cool with them completely getting rid of Schism and just being like, they're a subordinate thing for him.
All three of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Just put Gacy could be Huskus, and Zach Gibson, whatever his name is, Rip Torn or something. Not Rip Torn.
Rip Torn.
Rip
Fowler.
Fowler. I was gonna say Farley. I was like completely forgot this guy's name. Rip Fowler. He could be Mercy, and he could be Ramblin' Rabbit.
As far as Mercy, as far as the Abby.
Who's Rip Taylor? Is that a guy?
Rip Taylor's someone else. I believe that's an actor.
Let me see. Rip Taylor. Is he an old school guy? Did he have a Donnybrook at any point? Oh, that's right. That's the guy that pops up in the Jackass movies. That's how I know him.
Overall, the thumbs up for me on Wyatt. You're reserving your judgment. I appreciate that. I will not let you crap on this. You're not going to speak this one into existence. I've learned my lesson with you. I'm not allowing it to happen. We're going to wait and see what happens here. But very, very good. So right now, going into Monday, we've got Bray Wyatt, the Bloodline, the appearance of DX, and Seth Rollins potentially winning the United States title. That's a pretty stacked Raw to look forward to.
Ted says no puns or wordplay tonight. I think we've had some of them already.
We got quite a few in there.
Frank says, God, please don't listen to Tony.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not putting it out there as I want it to happen. I want to be wrong.
You're putting it out there, and that's enough.
I'm just saying. Boy who cried wolf, essentially, or boy who cried rabbit. I don't know.
Well, wolf. There was the wolves and the little pigs. By the way, when I sent you that picture that someone made of pig flute Windham, it's like
Windham. Yeah. For somebody else had said earlier, I forgot about Bo Dallas coming back. Maybe. I don't know. If they need more followers, then maybe I would be okay with him being part of it. But just because he's related to him, I don't know if that's really necessarily the best fit. They'd have to see like what those characters are going to be If he was at like Rambling Rabbit and he's kind of filling that role, yeah, why not? Yeah. Say his name 3 more times, he'll be in your dreams tonight. Which one? Bo Dallas? Is that what we're going with?
Believe.
Just Bo Dallas, Bo Dallas, Bo Dallas. Let's see if I have a dream with that. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I am reserving some judgment, as I've said. I don't want to be happy about it and then go, damn it, they got me with this, you know. But I will say I am always willing to be proven wrong when I'm doubting something. And I want to be wrong on that. I want this to be the type of thing that come WrestleMania or whenever we get like, you know, some big things that come out of this that I go, oh yeah, look at that. Cool. We finally got the type of character growth and good storylines and good matches that we were expecting all these years.
With Wyatt back and with Rollins and with Cody, I feel like we finally have enough people that Roman doesn't need those belts. I don't want to hear, oh, Roman and Rock need the belt. No, they don't. They don't. Period. They don't. They do not.
At least one of them should just be split off.
And the problem I have with that is they're not hinting at that being a thing at all.
No. I mean, they got these new belts and we still haven't even seen them. So.
You think they're waiting for after Mania?
Maybe. It's tough. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like they've got a plan that it could end up being like, okay, well, by the next pay-per-view, they're going to already do this. And then sometimes we just end up being like months down the line. And then suddenly, hey, guess what? Tegan Nox is back or something. And you're like, wait, okay, that's a thing. So we'll see. Frankie's suggesting give it to Rollins. We'll see about that too. I mean, I thought by the end of this night that we would get some kind of an indication that Daniel Cormier is going to have a match at Crown Jewel.
I'm kind of good with him not.
I'm okay with it too. Yeah, I don't think that we saw anything from him that necessitates doing something. So if they do have a plan, they got to follow it up in some different way because they didn't hint to that at all during this night. And assuming everybody is healed and everybody's able to perform tomorrow and they don't have to switch plans up and everything, I'm curious about that United States title thing because that seems a little bit strange. But I don't know where you go because Wyatt didn't interfere and cost Rollins. And nothing happened with Cormier. And
he didn't attack Riddle.
Nothing happened with that. Yeah. So at the very least, the curiosity of the fuck is this all about is something that is going to be heading into Monday Night Raw. And even though it feels like it should be tomorrow night because it's, you know, post pay-per-view, it's actually not until Monday. We got tomorrow where I'm going to hopefully sleep a little bit more because I haven't been sleeping all that much lately. Maybe Bo Dallas will be in my dream stuff. I said his name earlier like that. Let's see what these final things in the chat are. Keep the UFC guys away. Every time they do Fight Pit, they should have a former fighter be the referee. I like that idea. I still think that they should call somebody like Ken Shamrock, get him to pop up and do that.
Ken Shamrock had said on Twitter that if he was going to referee, they were going to have to call it the Lion's Den.
You're really going to be like, WWE calls you up and you're like, no, you got to do that or else I'm not there. Come on, Ken.
Well, I mean, he's just tweeting. It's Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see. But at least as far as Extreme Rules, that's how we ended with the White Rabbit turning into Bray Wyatt and question marks all around of where do we go from here. We'll find out a little bit more on Monday Night Raw, and we'll start getting into all the build up to Crown Jewel that we haven't already gotten into with the Logan Paul stuff. Question marks on that. We got Halloween Havoc coming up too. That's another pay-per-view, and eventually Survivor Series. We got Full Gear for the AEW side of things. So we still have a couple more. We have 4 more events that are currently announced before the end of the year is up. And then, you know, start getting into 2023 and God knows what we have in store for that. Yeah. Huerta says, sweet dreams, Tones. Don't say I didn't warn you. Peter says, when do you ever sleep? And Michael says he doesn't. Well, the fact that my left eye has been twitching for the past 2 weeks, that's a good indicator of that. So, yay. Anyway, Extreme Rules is in the bag, and I think it's better than it's being in the bucket of nutsacks.
And on Friday, we're going to open the mailbag and answer your questions.
Look at that. Let's transition there.
Well, that's why I'm here.
We do have the mailbag coming up. We are going to do it live like this with the hot tag discussion Friday afternoon, probably around like that 2 to 3 range. It's usually when we tend to record, so stay tuned for that. If we end up having some more information, we'll try to let you guys know. But that's currently the game plan, and I'm not sure if we're going to do anything else like as a main event, or if we're going to just do a Darkcast, or if we're going to do both. Right now, there isn't a plan to do any specific main event, but I've got a lot of things on the back burner. Like I even started just on a whim earlier today, making up a potential Mount Rushmore list of every era in WWE, and an ECW one and a WCW one, and the Mount Rushmore of commentators, Mount Rushmore of ring announcers and everything. So part of me was thinking, I don't know if you guys would be interested in this or not, since we just got this switch up of the commentary team, might be kind of fun to do Mount Rushmore of commentators, ring announcers, and broadcast people like interviewers and all. Because that's a weird discussion that we couldn't do like a full hour on commentators, for instance. I mean, we probably could if we really wanted to, but like we're not going to do a full hour's worth of the Mount Rushmore of ring announcers when we all know the Fink is number one. But we could get a portion of it and we can lump that all together as the Mount Rushmore of broadcast personnel in WWE.
And there's 3 other announcers that we can say.
I'm not going to spoil my list, but I had a list of 7.
Obviously, Fink is number 1. No one's going to argue that. And yeah, I can think of at least a good 5.
Yeah, we got potential to do worst on those things. We got best, whatever. So it might be like maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, depending on if we get an opportunity to do anything at any other time. We'll have to play around with it. And maybe we get that this week and a Darkcast and elsewhere. But at least the mailbag is coming up with the hot tags on Friday, currently on the schedule. So if you want to send in your mailbag questions in advance, if you can't join us, go ahead and send them in and we'll get around and talk about those on the show. If you're able to join us live, that's even better because then you can ask any kind of random question on the live chat. Reading some of these in the chat as well here. There's a movie called See How They Run. It's a whodunit murder mystery starring Sam Rockwell. I love Sam Rockwell. And Adrian Brody. Have you guys seen it or will you cover it on Fanboys? I've never heard about it, but Sam Rockwell and Adrian Brody, that's really cool.
See what run? What's it called?
See How They Run.
Huh. I've never heard of it until right now, but I'm open to it.
Does Sam Rockwell dance in it? Is it See How They Dance? Because he dances in like every movie. Matt Striker wins worst commentator. No, I wouldn't do that. I actually kind of like Matt Striker, but he's not going to be on my
he's kind of mid. Like he wouldn't be on my best or worst.
Yeah. Frankie says, I'm surprised you didn't go to Extreme Rules. Yeah, it's Philly, but I mean, I've been up in New York. And
in New York, yes.
I mostly, the friends of mine that were interested in going, they didn't really bother through to put in the effort for it to be like, hey, like we all want to get together and do this kind of thing. And I didn't really feel like going through the effort of doing it. So it ended up just kind of passing by. But Ted starring at Gorilla and Bobby. I will keep a shush on that because it's pretty obvious that it's probably going to be them, but we'll get to some of those things. I think that might be a good game plan. That might be kind of fun. Just switch it up a little bit. And when's another opportunity for us to bring that out? I don't know. So we'll see. But if you are subscribed to the channel and you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, you follow us on Amazon Music or Google Podcasts or whatever the hell you listen to us on, there's probably a million of those things out there. I get these comments. These emails every once in a while where it's like, hey, we've got a shitty new website that stole your podcast and we want you to create an account for it for like, I don't know, Wiper or something fucking name. And I'll be like, no, stop it. I'm not giving you permission. There's too many avenues for people to find the podcast as it is. But if you have any preference, let me know. Maybe you're the type of person who's like, Stitcher's the best and you really like that. Whatever it is.
For whatever it's worth, if it's not YouTube, I'm a Spotify guy. That's all my music, all my podcasts. It's all Spotify.
That says, you want to put your podcast on LimeWire? Maybe Kazaa or Morpheus.
Listen, I don't think we need to go back to peer-to-peer streaming platforms. But you're welcome to put our podcast on LimeWire.
If I follow through with the way that people used to do it back in the day, most of the audio files would not actually be that. It would actually just be that stupid impression of Bill Clinton that you would end up getting.
So I would always get like a stupid, which I'm guessing is a glitched out virus file of just like a random iPod, like the first era iPod, and like all the time.
Different era. Yeah, different time. I don't miss some of those things.
No, I don't. I swear. It's the money adds up, but streaming platforms are so much better.
So if you obviously are subscribed to whatever it is, leave a comment, tell us your thoughts on things. If you listened to this show on YouTube, you got the comment section below where you can tell us your thoughts on what we were talking about and anything else you want to chime in about. Big thanks to everybody that joined us in the live chat tonight. Loved reading your comments and hanging out with you guys while we were doing this. Yeah, maybe we'll do a MindSpace thing too. And we will carry on with those things. But in the meantime, if you want to follow whatever else is happening, of course, go to smarkoutmoment.com where eventually there's going to be an update on the WWE Fantasy League because Callum's not joining us tonight.
Won. He totally won.
He definitely won the predictions for this.
Because as soon as Bianca won, he won because I picked Bayley and
I had
Tony, picked Imperium.
Yeah, I picked Imperium. So he got those correct. He's going to get the opportunity to take either bumping one of his people up double the amount of points or taking somebody else and lowering them half the amount of points. And then, the point systems will carry on and he'll update that and stuff. So maybe the next...
Spoiler, I'm losing. Tony's probably still winning. Maybe
during the mailbag and hot tags, the bags and tags, maybe we'll end up having a little rundown of the fantasy league or something. SmarkOutMoment.com, of course, has the other weekly articles. And, I said before I might write like a creative license thing up. I might write up an article of, hey, this is what street fight should mean to me and this kind of thing. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But if you go to the website and you go to fanboysanonymous.com and you go to amangotree.com, you see all those links and click on all those social media profiles and all, like and follow and share all that stuff. Go to Tony Mango on Facebook and Twitter. Follow me over there. Been trying to tweet a little bit more and just be a little bit more, vocal in that. So tweet back at me. Let's keep a discussion going. And check out that card that I put up. I found that poster before and we figured out what the card was.
Fantastico.
Turns out my thing from this past couple of weeks when we did that, and I'm like, who the fuck's Julio Fantastico? Opener of one of the first matches that I had seen live. So goes to show how memorable that one was. But if you are following what we got going on, you're following me and whatever, you should also be following Rob.
Yeah, you should be following me. Follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. And stay tuned for the eventual DudeFelice.com. It is real. I showed Tony. He can vouch for it. And that's going to be coming soon. And I'm going to be doing so much more of just my own random content. And I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully you all join me for the ride, but you should also be, of course, checking out Smark Out Moment and the features, such as the Triple Threat, which I participate in, and the Power Rankings, which Callum does every Saturday. But until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep, that's it for us. And we hope that you obviously enjoyed this. We hope you enjoy everything going forward that we got planned for you. And, voice your opinions, hit the like button, do all that stuff. Let us know about that. But yeah. Adios for now, everyone. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.